Today, I'm going to make a fun little space prototype. We'll look at textures, shaders, filters, camera movement, and everything in between. But before we dive deep into the technical stuff, I'd like to first touch on the prototype itself and explain why I'm doing the project. As a kid, I loved the game Homeworld. For those who might not be familiar, Homeworld is a real-time strategy game, but in space. The game was released in 2003, and similar to other titles in that year, like Frozen Throne and Max Payne, Homeworld also provided a unique experience. You could move around in space, but more importantly, you could also zoom in on the action and immerse yourself in the space opera that the game provided. The ship detail, the combat, the different designs, and on top of that, you also had a story worth experiencing. And my love for Homeworld persists today. But what has really reignited my passion for space has been the recent space race. The space race of the past was unlike anything we had seen before. Russia and the US gave it their all in a massive jousting competition with rockets. However, today, you have people like Bezos, Branson, and Musk who are trying to dominate the space industry through private endeavors. Although, it does feel a lot more like a billionaire cockfight than an actual space race. And it was this combination of comedy and technology that inspired me to make a video game about the modern space race. Like any good space race, we need a destination to race to. And what better than a planet? Planets come in an array of shapes. But let's stick to the humble sphere for now. From here, we have two branching paths for making our little planet. The texture path and the shader path. Both are perfectly valid and have their benefits. Let's explain textures first. Textures are fairly straightforward. They're a simple flat image that any any artist can make. Their primary flaw, however, is scale. You see, when you take an image and wrap it around a sphere, the more you zoom in, the more likely you are to see the stretching and the pixels. Naturally, you can avoid this by scaling your image larger and larger until the problem goes away. But this is not optimal. Your game will take up more space, will take longer to load, and could choke someone's old hardware. On the other hand, you have shaders, which you can think of as asking the computer to paint instead of you painting something yourself. Of course, shaders can do a lot more than just paint, but for our game, this is what we want them to do. But you can already see the problem here. Computers are not great conversationalists, and you might struggle to tell them exactly what you want. But thankfully, there are some wizards out there who are really good at talking to computers, and they're willing to teach us. Just like user Tahinti here, who has made planets with shaders before and has accidentally done all the hard work for us. The Soviet Union thanks you, comrade. So what are the benefits of going through all this trouble then? Well, to put it simply, shaders are rendered in real time, which allows them to stretch as far as you want, without having the stretching issues from before. Going back to Homeworld for a little bit, remember that zoom in camera action? I'm going to reverse engineer that camera and attempt to replicate it inside my game. Making the camera movement is not too hard to do, however, you do have to be very careful how you handle inputs, because it is very easy for something to go wrong and the camera to start glitching. I've prepared a little scene here, where we can explore how we want the camera to work. The first and most important aspect is being able to lock on targets, similar to Homeworld. This can be achieved by using an anchor point. What this means is that instead of moving the camera, you move the anchor, and the camera simply follows. This makes rotating and zooming in on planets much easier. But what if we had something that wasn't a planet and instead it moved around all the time? Well, for moving targets, you simply lock on and keep moving. So far, I have not shown any gameplay, and that's because there isn't much to show yet. This is mostly a work in progress that I'm just playing around with and seeing what sticks. Currently, I have ideas of making different ship types, different factions, but I think I'll cover that in the next video. Thank you for watching so far. Bye.